Oh,
Yeah,
After they,
yeah, I'm gonna let them.
like,
we
I
can talk about it.
feel like I just got.
And the mayor's good with it too, so.
okay.
I gotta get rid of these Tootsie Rolls. They've been there for about a year.
.30, but we have no mayor.
Oh, he's coming.
There we go.
Perfect timing.
Hello, Mayor.
Yep. That's on for committee to close agenda next week.
Unless he's behind her.
The chair will call the February 1st, 2022 meeting of the City Council to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Clerk, if you please call the roll.
Alderman Redpath. Here. Alderman Gregory.
Here.
Alderman Williams.
Here.
Alderman Fulgenzi.
Here.
Alderwoman Purchase.
Here.
Alderwoman DeCenso.
She's going to be running a little late, but she will be here tonight, sir.
Okay. Alderman McMiniman.
Here.
Alderwoman Conley.
Present.
Alderman Donlin.
Here.
Alderman Hanauer.
Here.
Mayor Langfelder.
Here.
Mr. Mayor, a quorum is present.
Thank you. We do have two presentations. One is first one, Jan Von Quaylen, regarding the Urban Forestry Commission, a recap of 2021.
Good evening. Let's see if I know how to work this. Good evening, Mayor Langfelder, members of the City Council. I'm Jan Von Quaylen. I'm the chair of the Springfield Urban Forestry Commission, the UFC, and thank you for allowing me the opportunity to update you on the UFC's activities. 2021 was a busy year for the UFC and a year of growth for the urban forest. There we go. A big thank you to our hardworking volunteer commissioners, Erskine Rute, Scott Marlowe, Susan Allen, Randy Belville, Ernestine Lawrence, Dr. Amy McEwen, and Rianne Hawkins. And a big thank you to the city arborist, Jeff Ream, and Public Works Director, Nate Bottom. They have been great collaborators. The UFC couldn't do anything without them. The UFC was a co-sponsor for the National Endowment of the Arts Big Read, Sangamon County. The book Lab Girl by Hope Jaron was a perfect fit for the UFC because it's filled with Dr. Jaron's insights about trees. The UFC participated in the Citizens Club program, Urban Trees, Planning, Policy, and Planting, moderated by Dr. Lucia Vasquez of UIS. Speakers included Melissa Kustik of the Chicago Regional Tree Initiative, Jeff Ream, and me. Dr. Amy McEwen presented Plant an Illinois Native Tree, Support a Food Chain. Dr. McEwen emphasized that planting native species is important because the ecosystem evolved together and species are codependent. UFC coordinated an Arbor Day event at the Boys and Girls Club of Central Illinois, planned by Ernestine Lawrence and Susan Allen. Mayor Langfelder issued a proclamation emphasizing that trees are an essential part of the Springfield infrastructure and that the actions we take today impact our children's children tomorrow. The program featured middle school student artwork depicting trees and older student artwork regarding the benefits of trees. Boys and Girls Club staff were honored. The event included a tree giveaway and planting a hackberry and a Japanese lilac tree. The city also had tree giveaways at the Old State Capitol on Founder's Day and at the city's Earth Day celebration at the Henson Robinson Zoo. In late October, Gail Myers of Davidson's Japanese Maples donated nearly 1,000 trees to the city to celebrate the sister city relationship between Springfield, Illinois, and Ashikaga, Japan. The trees are mostly Japanese maples, but include ginkgos, conifers, beech, tupelo, hardy maples, and other miscellaneous trees. The trees are being stored by Randy Belleville at the new city greenhouse and will be planted in the city over the next 3 months. Jeff and Nate are guiding us as to placement of the trees. On December 4, about 18 volunteers convened to plant trees at the northwest corner of Clear Lake and Dirksen, the southwest corner of Clear Lake and Dirksen, and South 5th and 6th Street, just south of the railroad tracks. The latest news is that the city, in partnership with the UFC, received a $20,000 grant for a tree inventory. The tree inventory and the urban forestry management plan will give Springfield a quantitative analysis of Springfield's urban forest and a blueprint for maintaining it. They will allow the city to efficiently and effectively manage its urban forest. In 2022, in addition to the volunteer plantings, the city will be planting over 100 trees this spring and more in the fall. The city will give away 400 trees in conjunction with the Arbor Day event at the Boys and Girls Club and the Earth Day activities. There will be an educational program on April 7 featuring Drs. McEwen and Vasquez and moderated by Alderwoman Erin Conley. 4 UIS environmental studies students will work with the UFC this spring as their capstone project to refine the UFC's recommendations regarding city improvements such as the MacArthur Boulevard project and others. I'd be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Any questions? Yes, Alderman Williams.
Yeah, so I want to thank you for the work that you've done. I participated in the Boys and Girls Club. That's when it sparked my interest a little bit. I'm really not a tree person or used to a tree, but we had lost a lot of trees in the neighborhood in the 2006 storm. So as you know, we took a few trees. We got a couple, and we're hoping to convince some of the neighbors to do some more. But along with your work, that, you know, I'm learning to appreciate, especially the work on Clear Lake, you know, which is a part of Ward 3. I saw the difference this summer the first time. I haven't seen it yet with the new trees because, I mean, they're like sticks to me right now. You know, they look like a stick, you know. But I just want to let you know I appreciate it, and I'm going to be coming to you guys for guidance because I'm trying to work on an ordinance where we deal with trees when they are at the end of their life, when they're knocked down or they fall down and they're in vacant lots and things, on how to get the residents to better take care of the trees and how to properly dispose of them and things like that. So maybe we expand that knowledge of trees when we work with your group.
That would be great. We would love to work with you. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Alderman McMiniman.
Just a brief comment. Jen, thank you for being part of such a hard-working commission and so many initiatives, and you're helping to beautify our capital city. So thank you to all the commission members and all the others that are helping you.
I will certainly pass that along. Thank you all. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Then Nate Bottom has a presentation or a few comments on the snow emergency for tonight, and tomorrow, and maybe the next day.
It's canceled.
What's going on?
Are you ready, Nate?
I don't know what's going on. Bad joke, dad joke.
Yeah, no,
I'll keep my day job. So, we optimized our snow routes a couple years ago in regards to ADT, critical facilities, slope, crash data, surface materials, and bus routes. We further expanded upon that. We monitor approximately 1,500 miles of streets with the primary and trouble spots, which are the ones we will plow first. You're usually within a quarter mile of a major street, which we will be plowing first. We need to make sure that they're open for emergency and safety services. And then we'll move into our secondary and event-specific streets. We have approximately 140 miles of those. And then our secondary plow-only streets are generally our subdivision streets with lower average daily traffic. And we also obviously maintain our downtown sidewalks. In regards to resources, we have approximately 100 employees that are involved in our snow operations. We generally run 2 12-hour shifts, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., running 25 tandem trucks, a couple larger F-550s, and then when we go to full operations for this large of an event, we utilize our operators with end loaders and backhoes in the subdivisions, and we have light-duty trucks that are used that generally do monitoring so that we're operating as efficiently as possible, checking out service requests and complaints. And then CWLP Lake Services helps us on the southeast side of town. They have approximately 18 employees and 9 pieces of equipment. And for these larger events in the downtown area, we have to truck the snow out. So CWLP Water, if the main breaks are minimal, which hopefully right off the bat they won't be too bad, they'll help us load the snow and then take it over by the Quick Wall property that we purchased so that we don't have to travel too far, as well as CWLP Electric Division. They're going to help us out with that. We've already ordered 1,450 tons of our $6,000 or 6,000 ton allotment. We average approximately 500 tons per shift, so per 12-hour shift. So if we're working 3 days, we could go through potentially 3,000 tons. And we did open up the west facility a couple years ago, which helps us operate a little bit more efficiently too. The downtown, or the one on Clear Lake Avenue, that holds approximately 3,500 tons of salt, and the west holds approximately 1,000, can hold up to 1,000 tons of salt. With this snow, we are planning on utilizing contractors, and we'll probably call them in as we get a little bit of accumulation early to mid-morning, depending upon how it's progressing. We do have we have a few different contractors on call. We just had a pre-event meeting on Monday, making sure coordinating with our operations coordinators and our engineers to make the call, and then to ensure running additional equipment that we needed if we need to get an additional grader, and we did get a larger end loader with a larger bucket for unloading in the downtown area. We also pre-treated the bridges in some of the steeper spots. However, we couldn't toss too much salt because of the rain right now. We anticipate those starting to toss salt. We're calling the night crew in at 9 tonight, and then we'll probably start tossing salt 9:30, 10 o'clock, depending upon when the temperatures drop, so that we can hopefully eliminate the bond with the ice to the pavement, and then we're just going to get inundated, and we're probably going to get a little behind, but we're going to focus on the mains at first, and then we'll get into the secondary event-specific streets and then the subdivisions. And being supplemented with the contractors tomorrow. So we did declare a snow emergency. That will begin tonight at 9 p.m. and we anticipate that running through Friday at 9 p.m. That could be shortened or extended depending upon how we have the roads cleared along the snow emergency routes. And like I mentioned, we are going to start salting 9 p.m. and we're going to be running probably 3 days straight, I anticipate, with our 12-hour crews. Also, the waste haulers did announce that they are going to delay services. At least all of them are delaying it tomorrow. Republic announced that they're going to do Wednesday and Thursday, and then they'll pick up next week. Waste Management and Lake Area are going to assess and see how long that they'll be delayed for their services. We also are going to, just due to the amount of snow projected as well as the colder temperatures, it's going to take some time to melt. We're going to delay our branch pickup by a week. And that's all I have. If you have if you want to take a look at the tracking or any of our snow information materials, you can go to the website, springfield.il.us/snow. So just a quick update. I'll open up to any questions.
Alderman Redpath?
Nate, with the snow emergency, do we ask people not to park on the street?
Yeah, we definitely along all the snow emergency routes, they do not need to park across street. And then in any areas, if you can have them not park across the street, on the street at all, that obviously helps improve our efficiency, allowing us to go a little bit faster and go curb to curb, cleaning up the
Well,
areas.
I was gonna ask our friends in the press if they wouldn't mind relaying that if you could, that if people don't park on the street, that will help us a whole bunch. Thank you.
Alderwoman Purchase?
Mayor, I had received 4 text messages about people being elderly. There was some post about if you don't clear your sidewalks, it could be a potentially, I think, $250 fine. Is there something in place for elderly people who may not be able to get out and do that themselves?
We don't specifically have it, but it's more so complaint driven.
Okay.
And the way the ordinance reads is it's supposed to be cleared after the snowfall at 10 a.m. the next day. And then it's really complaint driven, and you need to call our housing division at 789-2167, and we would assess it. But unfortunately, we don't have a waiver to not shovel your sidewalk at this time.
And Director, if I can't, just a clarification, if that happens, it has to be something that they caused a problem from. If natural snow falls, we're not gonna ticket them for that because people just can't get out there. Don't they have to have created the problem by piling more snow on the street?
No, it's really complaint driven. They are supposed to plow the snow or shovel the snow off of their sidewalk by 10 a.m.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Alderwoman Conley?
Just real quickly, just wish your employees the best from us, and we appreciate their efforts. I know they're going to get complaints, but we rely on them, so it's going to be some long days for them.
Thank you. It will be very long days, so please be patient with them and think of them. When you're asleep, they're going to be working 12-hour shifts throughout the night or throughout the day, and it can be very monotonous, but they work very, very hard, and we really appreciate it.
They do. I know I've got a
Thank
couple
you.
constituents who work there on those shifts, so thank you.
Alderwoman Purchase and Alderman Hanauer.
Nate, I know that you have a Public Works Department Facebook page. Will you be continuing to update that too as well?
We will be personally, I'll be updating you with emails periodically. That's, I
that we
believe you're
can just
referencing,
share.
the city has their own website as well. I believe that you may be talking about a union website.
Okay.
I think a lot of the Facebook pages are union-driven. Yep. Alderman Hanauer.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, this is the first time in all the years I've been alderman where I got a preempted complaint that their streets don't get cleared, so it's, this better be a big one, because, Nate, none of our streets have gotten cleared out there today, so.
We've already received 15 complaints.
15. Well, 2 of them were from my ward, so.
Very good. Any other comments or questions?
Very well done, Nate. Good report. Thanks.
Thank you.
But again, go to the city's website, springfield.il.us/snow, and they'll show the snow roads that have been plowed and things of that nature for the latest information. Chair will entertain a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes of the January 18th, 2022 minutes of the city council meeting to approve the minutes. Been moved and second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Chair will entertain a motion to incorporate the pre-council first reading of ordinances in the record of this city council meeting.
Second.
Been moved and second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. The chair will entertain a motion to incorporate the pre-council reading of the consent agenda in the record of this city council meeting.
So move.
Been moved and second. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Chair will entertain a motion to place the consent agenda on final passage.
So move.
Second.
Been moved and second. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, vote yes. Those opposed, vote no. The voting is now open. And the consent,
Noted for 4 and 5 for DOT and for liquor. Thank you.
consent agenda passes, 9 voting yes, none voting no. Agenda numbers 2021-336, 2021-337, 2021-370 remain tabled or in committee. Is there any action on any of those?
I have a question.
Alderman Redpath?
21-370, is that something we can pass out, or is that going to be taken care of in the budget?
What's that, well,
That's the 1.4 million for the Convention and Visitor Bureau.
yeah, they'll be taken care of in the budget.
So can we withdraw that ordinance?
We probably should leave it in there for the time being.
All right, thank you.
We would. Thank you. Any other discussion on those? Next item on the agenda is 2022-005, an ordinance authorizing a supplemental appropriation in the amount of $530,000 from the city's corporate ARPA funds to the Water ARPA Fund, and to authorize and accept proposal number UW 22-26 with Axon Water Care, Inc., for the purchase of lakes recirculation equipment in an amount not to exceed $530,000 for the Office of Public Utilities. Chair will move for discussion.
So move.
Second.
The move and second. We do have individuals from Ixom Water Care here, I believe, with CWLP. If you'd like to come forward. I don't know if Doug is here. Oh, Todd. Yep. And Todd LaFountain. If you'd like to give an overview, Todd, and introduce the guests, that'd be great.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So obviously we're here to talk to you today about the recirculation equipment on Lake Springfield that we discussed at the Committee of the Whole last week. We got a short presentation for you, and I brought Mike Christensen from Ixom Water Care. He's located up near Minnesota, somewhere up in Minnesota, so joking with him outside that he brought the winter weather with him tonight for us, so better be good, right?
Yep.
So the overview I've got here for you, I'm just going to talk in generalities about algae-induced taste and odor events in surface water bodies. A lot of this is a repeat of what we talked about for those that were around last fall when I was up here in September. But I'll try to be brief with mine because the core of this is to really have Mike answer any questions that you might have. So the big question and the most important question we get when we have an algae-related taste and odor event is the water safe to drink? And the answer is absolutely yes, a resounding yes. It's an aesthetics issue with the water. It's not a safety or health-related issue. During last September's event, we continued to exceed all federal and state water quality parameters and regulations. So it's perfectly safe, but it is kind of a nuisance aesthetics issue. So the next question is, what makes my water taste bad? What gives it this earthy, musty, dirty taste? And what it is it's just the natural decomposition of blue-green algae release these compounds that we refer to in the industry as MIB and geosmin. So here in Springfield, usually our issue, 99% of the time, is with MIB. Our treatment plant isn't 100% effective, but it's almost 100% effective at removing geosmin. MIB is much tougher to get out of the raw water. So then we get the question, when it's been a long time since we've had a big taste and odor run, why hasn't this happened before? And the answer to that question is it has. It happens every year. So the big thing that changes is the intensity and the duration of these events they're highly variable. So that's kind of driven by a variety of factors. So lake stagnation contributes to higher intensity, higher duration. Higher nutrient loading in the lake contributes to higher intensity and duration. And also weather conditions can play a big role in how big of algae bloom we might have in a given season. So this particular picture is worth 1,000 words right here. So we've been tracking MIB and geosmin data in the lake since 2018. So when I say we have this type of issue every year, you can see there's little spikes in the bar graph there every fall. So this is somewhere in the range of August to early October is when these usually kind of settle in. So for the first 3 years, you can see the spikes for MIB are fairly minor. And then you can see towards the right side of that graph, we had a big event this last fall. So that's why we got all the attention we did last September. And that particular incident was basically a full month from the onset of the first call in late August to the last call in early October. So what do we do about this, right? If it's in the water every year, there's algae blooms, what are we doing at the treatment plant? So and more specific, the water department. So we're doing a lot. These are really the 5 tools that we currently have to combat algae-related taste and odor issues. So our resources, water resources people, they're working on this all year round, right? So they're out in the watershed installing best management practices. These include grass waterways, filter strips, shoring up or stabilizing the shoreline, and also trying to promote cover crops. So if we can keep the nutrients out of the lake, you're not going to have these huge algae blooms. So if an algae bloom does settle in, what are we doing at the treatment plant? So our intake has multiple gates. We can draw water from really any elevation within the lake. It's about 30 feet deep in that area. So we'll go out to the intake and we'll sample the water near the intake, and we will stage our water draw to the best quality lake or best quality lake water that we can find. So we'll consistently move gates up and down in search of the best starting point that we can find. So we've got a powdered activated carbon system. We put that system into overdrive. Typically we feed about 3 parts as a background level. During a taste and odor event, we'll feed 7 times that amount. So not only are we feeding a lot of powdered activated carbon, we're also searching on our off time here. So like times like now during the winter while we're getting ready for the next fiscal year, we're searching the country for the best type of carbon or the best performing carbon we can find. So we don't do a low bid award. We'd send our raw water off to Jacksonville, Florida to EPS. We have them do some testing, and in specific, we target MIB, which carbon is most effective at removing that compound. And then, of course, our water distribution crews and our crews out at the water treatment plant are always busy flushing hydrants, washing out equipment, trying to keep things clean and odor-free. So what else could we do, right? There's a lot of tools we could add to our water purification process. One of them is to construct a pre-sedimentation basin to give our carbon extra contact time. It sounds pretty simple, but we're talking like about a basin that holds 8 to 12 hours worth of storage, so it's a large capital project, and it would involve a long design period and spaces at a premium, quite frankly, out at the water purification plant. So some systems implement pre-oxidation. So this usually takes the form of like chlorine dioxide or something like that. The problem with that type of approach is it's shown very marginal success in helping with MIB. And then you have some side effects. You have some disinfection byproducts that you have to really keep an eye on there. So there's some fallout from that. So there's also that third item there. There's some additional treatment technology that could be implemented at the water purification plant. Again, these are expensive, long-term projects. And again, here you're talking about altering the chemistry of the water. So you have to be very careful that you're not going to alter the chemistry and disrupt a distribution system that has seen a consistent chemistry for 75 years. And then finally, we got the solution that we've proposed under ordinance is a lake circulation equipment. So with this, we're not really trying to treat the water, but we're trying to establish reasonable baseline starting point for MIB and geosmin levels so that our existing purification facilities can drop those numbers down below the taste threshold. So this is what was proposed by Mike and his group, kind of as the optimum installation. We've talked a little bit about that and said, you know, there's room for negotiation on this, and we can probably get most of what we need to out of the system with moving some of the units around. But in essence, what this is representing is 13 solar bead units. They would be located at the approximate centers of the red circles. Most of them, well, about half of them would be down there near the Dolman complex, and then they would kind of sprawl to the south a little bit there. So with that, I'm going to hand the podium over to Mike. He's going to take you through the equipment specifics, and I did have one redaction from last meeting. So Mike is going to provide you with some case studies. His equipment, I think I said the 2 nearest ones were Bloomington and Otter Lake. It's his competitor's equipment that's in at Bloomington, so he won't be prepared to answer any Bloomington-related questions. With that, Mike Christensen from Ixom Water Care.
Mr. Mayor, thank you for allowing me to be here tonight. Thank you, Todd. So I'm going to be talking about our approach to managing the lake and help improve the water quality for water plants to do a better job or enhance their water quality to the general public that uses it. The primary reason why we get called is because of cyanotoxins that are given off by blue-green algae, taste and odor events in drinking water, and loss of property value, and loss of recreation use. All these are reasons why people apply our equipment. Lake circulation is not a new concept. It's been around for a long time. Many lake managers, apply it all the time. In 2001, our equipment was developed by two individuals up in North Dakota, and the unique features of being solar powered and able to adjust the circulation depth are the key components, two of the key components to our equipment. We have lake circulators in approximately 450 lakes, and over 200 of them are in front of drinking water plants. It is an updraft, low-head, high-volume pump, operates on solar energy, has an onboard battery system, and it circulates up to 10,000 gallons per minute. We have had several agencies, including the Army Corps of Engineers, that have, done tests to make sure that we can circulate up to that amount of water, and our equipment comes with a 2-year warranty. For this application, for trying to resolve blue-green algae issues, we would propose to have the intake set above the thermocline. And it's important to do that, and that's one of the unique features that this equipment has that virtually no other equipment has in the industry. When you mix above the thermocline, you can get long-distance circulation, which affects a large area. In this particular picture, if you drop that intake hose down into hypolynium, meaning below the thermocline, the water would not affect probably more than 5 acres. In this case, when we circulate the water above the thermocline, we have clients that tell us that they're absolutely affecting up to 30 acres with one machine. And each of those circles that Todd had talked about, that's about the distance, or the machines would be about a quarter mile apart from each other. We anchor them similar to what the Army Corps suggests for anchoring. A 5 to 7 foot reach for every foot of depth would be the anchor length. So it will go around in a circle, because you would have approximately 140 feet on these. And so it would move, it wouldn't stay stationary. It'd probably move 60, 70 feet depending on how the wind would blow. This is just a picture of a spacing that would be very similar to what would be out in your lake, approximately a quarter mile between the units. So question, what is it that the machine is doing or the circulation does to help control blue-green algae? Well, number one, it increases the growth of good algae and good bacteria to outcompete the blue-greens for the nutrients. And that's really important to get equipment in early in the spring to help take advantage of that. Blue-green algae, number two, zooplankton falls in that category too. It basically feeds on the blue-green algae that's within the water column if there's enough there, so it promotes that growth. The disruption of the buoyancy, that's the competitive advantage that blue-green has over other organisms in the water. And by constantly mixing, and granted there's wind mixing that takes place, but during the times when there's no wind or anything, there's no mixing going on. This here allows to keep that buoyancy factor away from that blue-green algae, so it takes one of their competitive advantages away. And then the last one is cyanophage. It's a virus. It's known that about 30% of all blue-green algae is eliminated in the lake via virus. They both, blue-greens and cyanophage, live in colonies in the water. So as you mix the water, you have more contact between the two, thus there's some more natural predation that takes place. Here's a couple of case studies. One is just south of here, the Otter Lake Water Commission. They installed 4 solar bees in about 120 acres in front of their drinking water plant. It was there to reduce taste and odor. The owner remarks, improved water quality to the plant. MIB and jasmine were drastically reduced. Blue-green algae blooms were less frequent and intense, and the equipment is robust. And anybody needs his phone number, I'd be glad to pass it along. He said he'd talk to anybody. Another case study, I worked on a project in Georgia, Newton County, installed 12 solar bees in front of a 12 million gallon day plant. Huge reduction in taste and odor. They saved several $100,000 in chemical costs by having these units compared to previous years. And it lowered its use of activated carbon, one of the things that is used at your plant, and in 2019 was voted best water in Georgia. This is a case study for Des Moines, Iowa, and I'd let the chart kind of speak for itself. The units were installed in 2006, and this is a chart where it measures cells per milliliter. And so in 2005, they measured it. As you can see, they spiked way above 300,000. They added the units in 2006, 7, and 8. They had very consistent water, and that was one of the keys for their plant, to be consistent. They know how to treat the water. In the fall of 2008, they had a major flood that went through, and that particular reservoir was flooded. They didn't realize they had damaged the solar bees, so the next year, when they were using it, they noticed they weren't having the water wasn't any good in the reservoir, and we went out and inspected it, and they had problems. We fixed the problem, and in 2010 and since, their water has went back to about where it was at. In closing, one of the things I would say is, we've been around for 20 years. We have a lot of experience with this. I can say that it's not the answer completely. It works with several other pieces of equipment. It's part of the puzzle. We have a lot of people that believe in it, and we believe in it as a company, and we want to work with you to help fix your problems. Any questions?
Thank you. Any questions? What other equipment have you used with yours? What's
Solar
worked
bees?
well?
Pardon me?
What other equipment has worked well with this type of equipment of circulation?
Well, it's a preempt to, it's helping to fix the lake, so the water is in better quality for whatever they're doing inside the water plant. And it varies depending on which part of the country, if it's a carbon-based plant or a membrane-based plant, things like that.
So you mentioned there's other this is just the tip of the iceberg. There's one device that can help the water quality. Are there what other pieces of equipment or other manufacturers, or what's the other uses or other devices that can help with the water quality? For ours, we have, people have asked, we have our own power plant, and the older units have come off, but that recirculated the water, low depths. But of course, without running, it's going to pull the water up from the top rather than lower ones. But when you said you have this utilized with other devices, what other devices? That's what I was.
So, just to give you one example, obviously we got the 5 tools there, and this would just kind of fold into that tool chest. But like Otter Lake, they use the solar bees, the powdered activated carbon, and they got UV and peroxide system. So they got those big 3 layers. In addition, they're doing the best management practices and all that. So every utility is different. It really depends on how your treatment plant was set up initially, what the character of your watershed is. But I would suspect that Mike could take you to plants or talk about plants that operated with, ozone, with a variety of different applications in conjunction with the solar bees. Is that fair?
Alderman Hanauer?
I guess this is more of a, and it's not really a question on yours, it's more on the bid. Did we open this bid up for all the different types of, or did we go with a sole source or
So we did it as a request for proposals. It wasn't a hard bid format, but they were the only company that submitted a proposal.
Okay. All right, thank you.
And I guess I'll add to a question that was asked last week. These are reconditioned units, trying to keep the cost to a minimum. They come with the full 2-year warranty that a new unit would be, but they spent, a year or two in a lake somewhere else.
If I could follow. So Todd, do we really need to start off with 13? I mean, is there a way that we can start off a little bit at a time and see if it, if it fixed, up by the power plant and that, where it might be able to solve some of our problems?
So I think the answer in general is yes, we could try fewer units. And when we get to a certain point where we're not influencing enough of the lake to change the ecology, that it's really not going to do us much good. I don't know, Mike might tell you 13 was a magic number for this reason or that, but 10 units would probably work for us. You get to a certain point, if you just put 1 out by the intake, it's probably not going to do us any good. I mean, we're looking to change the overall ecology and improve that at that end of the lake. So, I mean, there's a break point. Is that 8, 9, 10? But it's somewhere in there.
And if we ran the circulation pumps instead, like that's how we got around this. It seemed like before. Is that? And I don't know, Doug, what that does as far as can we use people from the operations of 4 to come over and just run those?
Yeah, as
8
far
hours a day or whatever,
We would have to work out that work out union jurisdiction there, but, yeah, I mean, it's a different type of circulation now without the thermal element. The other big factor there is that those consume a huge amount of power. So Doug, being electrically based, you could probably talk more specifics, but, we do transfer money from the water fund to the electric fund and vice versa for the power that's consumed. And I would suspect that we could probably pay for the capital costs of this project with 1 year's worth of power of running those pumps.
Yeah, I mean, the guys at the plant did just a quick calculation, and I think it was about $1 million a year to run them continuously, year round. So that's just for energy costs. That's not including, operating costs for the manpower or maintenance costs.
Do you have to run them 24/7?
Well, the issue, is it gets back to the solar bees. That's what they're doing. They're running 24/7 all year round, but it's solar power, so it's not a big deal, right? So that when you start turning things off and trying to, run them less, you might not get the circulation that you need to keep the health of the lake there. The other thing is too with those pumps, which we don't know, is that there's environmental regulations that are governed by those things because of the intake. So that could also hamper that issue. I mean, it would have to be looked at a lot closer to make sure that we could actually do that. So it would, as with the study that we were going to do to look at all the different types of options, we could throw that in there and look at that as well as to see, what that would do. But that also, if we were ever to demo the 31, 32, and 33 structures, we wouldn't be able to use these pumps anymore. So at some point, we'll have to have something anyway.
Right.
So it's a matter of time, whether that's 5 years, 10 years. So that's another thing to consider as well with the pumps. I've heard, that maybe that, there are some, questions as far as can we allow some more public input, maybe delay these things a little bit. And as far as we're concerned, I guess, is that, we don't have a problem allowing more public input and delaying things for a while, but as what was said earlier, we're gonna hit a point in time in the spring, and these things would have to be installed by it. And so we can't delay things too long. Right, Todd? I mean, is that?
So I talked with Mike before this, and essentially, we're looking at water temperatures more than anything else. We get up to 10 to 12 degrees C, and that's when these algae compounds want to start replicating, and we want to get them in service before that if we're going to do this. So we talked about a date of May 1st. If we don't deploy them by May 1st, we probably just want to delay the project until next year and try for the fall of 2023.
Then how long is that installation?
Installation would probably run maybe less than a week, probably
Okay.
3-4 days. And then I just have a couple things I could shed on your earlier question. And one is this, we look at lakes, and the best is to do a whole lake circulation. That's the best. But in this case, you got 3,000-4,000 acres. We're really trying to affect 10%. And so we're already downsizing, and it's really like we're trying to not let the plant get shocked from the rest of the lake. If the wind is coming from the south, that blue-green algae is gonna blow in there. You have these solar bees in there to help block that. Is it gonna be 100%? Probably not. But it's helping to block that, and it's a partial lake. And when you do deal with a partial lake, there are some risks that some of it will go through, but you're already, down from maybe where you really want to be. And for this application, we were looking at circulating about 30 days of water ahead of the plant. That was kind of our rule of thumb that we use and try and affect that amount big of an area.
Yep. Alderman Donlin, then Alderwoman Conley, then Alderman Redpath.
Yeah, thank you. Just one quick question, Mr. Christensen. What is the lifespan of these refurbished units? How long do you expect them to last?
We fully expect them to last 25 years or more.
25 years. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So sorry, Mayor.
Oh, go ahead.
Thank you. You gave some other examples of lakes where this is being used. Do those lakes have recreational uses also?
Yes. I would guess 70% of the lakes that we have equipment in are recreational use. One particular lake has float planes landing and taking off on a 260-acre lake. We have one lake that has competition water skiing on it. And skiers like it because the water quality is better when they fall in.
So do you have complaints or concerns about people seeing these units during the day or even at night?
That's, it's interesting. Some communities adopt them, and they tell people if one isn't working, and we had one community that gave each one a name and said, so-and-so isn't working. And then there's some communities where there'll be a few people that will say, I don't think I'm gonna like this. In the end, they usually all like it, and fishermen love them. Because it does enhance the fishing on the lake.
But you don't have too many complaints about people running into them with their boats or?
I know of two times one in particular was in a lake close to where I live, and the guy had his two granddaughters out there, and he was fiddling with the lines for his granddaughters, and he had already started his motor, and the boat had turned, and he didn't look up, and he hit the throttle, and he ran into it. Nobody got hurt. Another one was in the fog, and somebody was a little bit too much canned courage and had problems.
That leads to all sorts of problems. Thank you.
Alderman Redpath.
So the probability of this working it sounds like it's got a pretty good chance of working, but is there a guarantee that we're not going to have taste and smell in the water?
No, I can't stand up here honestly and give you that guarantee. And I would say if somebody would come with something that said I could absolutely guarantee that I'm going to put something in your lake to do that, I think you should really question them.
Well, and here's the thing. We've had this problem for years. It was extra aggravated last year when the plants were shut down. And obviously, there was different capacities of levels. Some areas of the city was hit a little, the taste and the smell was worse than the others. But we don't even know if it's going to really work, and this is $500,000 for us. You know, I'm just concerned about that. And the thing is that I learned about this presentation this afternoon. So the area I represent is Lake Springfield. And so the people I represent didn't have a chance to, some of them were able to show up and be here to listen to the presentation. And when I talked to the mayor today, I did tell them that it was also on TV that they could watch it, but they didn't get to do this. I'm going to ask that we hold this. And look, I know we're under a time crunch, but we got time for public input. I think it's important to let our ratepayers and our taxpayers have a voice in this before we make this decision. But I would like to get the information from the places that you guys installed these. I'm going to talk to the Bloomington people, and we have several engineers that live on Lake Springfield, along with all kinds of residents that say that they want some input and some direction too. So I'm just going to ask for it to be held. I'm not tabling it. I know it's going to eventually, we're going to have to vote on it one way or another, and we have to do what's right for our citizens. And I'm talking about making sure we got the best water we possibly can. That's what we're trying to do. So that's where I stand. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, I noticed on one of the slides it said that riprap could help with the BGAs or the reduction. Are you familiar? I didn't know if there's a difference between riprap and seawalls. Because it seems like the riprap probably the way the
So Mayor, were you referring to an IXM slide?
one of those slides said how those BGAs are reduced. And it referred to that, so I didn't know if there's a differential between seawalls versus riprap or not. And if not, you can just get back to us.
None of the slide material that I provided had any information like that. But when he refers to BGAs, it's blue-green algae, obviously. So do you have any input on that? Riprap versus seawall and the impacts potentially on blue-green algae?
No,
No.
we don't know this any different. And the Otter Lake folks, put a lot of riprap up, and they've had very good luck with it. But there's other lakes that don't have any riprap, and they have good luck as well.
Okay. Yeah, Alderman McMinimum.
Thank you, Todd and Mr. Christensen, for very informative and knowledgeable presentations. I've got a two-part question. First is, when we look back at our lake records, have we ever had an incident like we had last summer that you could identify based on the records we keep?
Yeah, so, I mean, we would just have to go off of quantitative memory, right? So we didn't start doing MIB and geosmin sampling until 2018. So that's the data pool that we have to draw from, is those 4 years. So these are parameters, like they're not health-related parameters, and they're not required by any federal or state regulation. We just do them as a tool to try to help us manage the treatment process better. So that's the data pool we've got. I do remember some pretty intense algae blooms back in the late 90s and early 2000s, so
Yeah,
but it's all qualitative data.
So this isn't my second question yet, but so if we don't have scientific data to measure it, you know, what's going on inside the lake and so forth, do we have any memory banks out there, human memory banks that can remember taste and smell issues from the past?
I mean, we're pretty meticulous about the records we keep now. We keep a call log of anybody that calls in with any type of complaint. I would say 20 years ago, we won't find those documents. It was more back of the envelope type stuff. But, I mean, I've been here 28 years almost, and I do remember 2 or 3 of these that were citywide and of basically the same qualitative nature as what we experienced this last fall.
Same duration?
Yeah, I don't remember specifics on duration. Doug asked if it was the same duration. But you have to, if the nutrients are just right, the stagnation's just right, the weather's just right, you know, I mean, it can happen at any time.
Okay, and then the second question is kind of related to the first. We had a serious smell and taste issue last summer. Now, it doesn't affect everybody. You know, at our age, you've lost half your taste. So
Yeah, I glossed over that portion of it, trying to keep mine short and let Mike talk, but so there's a threshold there that Kim's back here from the water purification that she's shooting for out there, and it's, talk scientific terms, it's 10 nanograms per liter. I've never seen a legitimate earthy, musty complaint when the MIB and geosmin levels are below that threshold. That's what we're shooting for. But like for me, I know I'm not the best person to go, qualitatively go taste it, because I can't taste it till it's up near 30, 40, 3-4 times at 30, 40 nanograms per liter.
So the only caution I have is, before spending $500,000, do we want to see like 2 summers in a row like this? Or, or do you have a sense of that this will be a recurring problem? Or do we wait just to see, a repetition, and then we know for sure we got to do something?
Well, and again, that, I guess, is the council's decision here. This is a tool, and this is really the only tool on that list that I can roll out, and I know I can get installed and implement for the fall season. Now, there's no guarantee, like Mike said, no one's going to stand up here and say, we'll never have another taste and odor problem, because that's just not inherently the way this equipment works. But that is an option, just to build our data set and see what's really going on. I go out there, and what I see, and I'm just talking from the experience I've been out there, is I see a lake that's completely frozen in when I've never seen it completely frozen in since the units have stopped running, and I see increased stagnation, and it worries me that, we need to be doing something about it.
But frozen in, you didn't mean temperature frozen in, you mean just the conditions are locked in.
Right.
Yeah.
So that means water's not moving, right? If the ice is forming a complete layer at the north end of the lake.
Alderwoman Conley.
Thank you. And I think just to kind of piggyback on Alderman McMiniman's question, I think you've kind of said this already. We should reasonably expect to see more incidents like this, given that those generators are not running out there. We're just using Unit 4.
I mean, there is less circulation for sure. So, I mean, stagnation is a contributing factor to these types of blooms. There's no doubt. You go to a pond that sits idle and you drive by it, right? Small pond. If there's no water moving in it, you'll see lots of green out there. So, it is one factor. And, I guess nationally, you've seen an uptick in this type of stuff with this eutrophic zone and stuff. I mean, nutrients are getting into waterways, and it's something that's on the rise for sure.
So would it help pulling the water in the turbines, 31, 32, or 33? I mean, would that help right now?
That's what we're talking about as far as when Alderman Hanauer was asking that question, if we can use those pumps. And, again, that would be looked at to see if we can actually run those pumps through environmentally, 31, 32, I'm not for sure if those pumps are in working condition just yet. They're looking at that right now. 33s would be, of course, but, so there's some things that they need to look at long-term with that, just make sure the permitting allows us to do that. The cost, like I said, it's at least $1 million a year, at least. And then, the other part is, eventually just to try it and see if it works. But, I think the main thing is make sure the permitting is, okay for that, for us to proceed with that. The other thing too, that I'd like to follow up with what Alderman McMiniman was kind of alluding to, I guess, is that, it's a lot of money to invest right now. Do we want to wait just one more summer to see what happens? And if we do that, that's fine. We're going to continue the study as well, right? So that taste and odor, basically the research and development stuff is part of the ARPA funding that we received, or will receive, I guess, once we bring an ordinance forward. We're going to continue that to look at what the best, options are available to us and what those costs are. So we'll have something, within later this year, to be able to bring it to the council and figure out what we're going to do. So it's not like we're not doing anything.
Any other questions or comments? We will be setting up a public meeting probably within a month or so after the budget's settled, so Great presentation, Todd and Mike. We really appreciate the insight.
Yeah, thank you for your time. Thanks for the opportunity.
Good job.
Thank you.
Need a motion to hold it, Mayor?
Yeah, there's motion to send it back to committee.
Second.
Second, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is 2022-007, an ordinance accepting the lowest responsible bid and authorizing execution of contract number PW 22-11-68 with Green Demolition Contractors, Inc. for demolition and site clearance of the municipal parking garage located at 4th and Washington Street in an amount not to exceed $718,180 for the Office of Public Works. Chair will entertain a motion to place agenda number 2022-007 on final passage.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? I did have Tim Smith come with Baskin Cells. If you'd just like to give a brief statement about the condition, because at one point we thought we could refurbish it, but I had them do a walkthrough. And if you'd speak to the structural deficiency of the ramp, that'd be helpful.
Yeah, my name's Tim Smith. I'm with Evan Lloyd Architects. We're the prime architect of record on the project. Mark Henderson's with Feenstra and Kim, and he's a structural engineer, consulting engineer. We did walk it this summer. We'd also looked at the previous reports inspection reports that had been done that showing deterioration, and talked with CWLP personnel, walked the site, and I tend to have a salvage mentality, and after talking with the engineers and walking the site, the amount of deterioration and the amount of stuff that we would have to remove and rebuild just wasn't cost effective. There was too much damage. The concrete decks are cracked, they're spalling, there's exposed reinforcement to the point that it's swelling, and it's falling apart also, just the rebar itself. And there's structural columns and beams that are even deteriorating. So it's not just the decking, it's even the framework that's holding it together. You want to add, Mark?
Yeah, I would say that after walking with you, Mayor, the whole thing is in terrible shape. And typically you're seeing deterioration on the top and the bottom of the slabs, the beams, the columns. And when deterioration gets that deep, it's basically, if you're going to repair it, it's full depth repair, and the extent that we're looking at is a high percentage. And even walking underneath it, I was a little nervous because you could see concrete on the ground broken up, and I was kind of shying away from those areas. So I think we all kind of felt it's a hazard. It's probably beyond repair. And when you look at concrete, or any structure for that matter, the deterioration is an exponential curve. You know, you start out flat and it goes, but as time goes on, then it gets really steep, and we're almost at the vertical point of that curve. So,
Right. Well, appreciate you coming. Alderman Hanauer.
Yeah, Mayor, I saw on first reading that we were looking to purchase the building next door. Is the intent is this money also tearing that building down as well?
Yes, Nate can comment on that. Nate Bottom.
That is the intent. However, it wasn't in the original scope, so we will have to do a change order. However, with it being so close, we were going to have to protect it. So we believe there will be a cost savings, and it'll be cost effective to do that, as well as just clean up that entire block.
Okay, thank you.
Follow-up question on that.
Yes, Alderman McMenamin.
The building next door was the tavern, and
Correct.
so and that had a fire, and there was in the news discussion about what the insurance outcome was for that claim. Do you have any information about that?
I don't specifically know anything about the insurance side of things, but know that we're.
Maybe we're getting ahead of ourselves, but was there a purchase price in that ordinance that's on first reading?
Yeah.
Yeah, Ryan Bandy, the owner of the establishment's here, so we should make use of this time.
The purchase price, if you don't mind, Mayor, was a lot less than what he was supposed to get from the hotel people.
Correct.
I believe, so let's see, it's,
Yeah, the original price back in 2019 was $450, so we've come to an agreement for $75,000. So, and another thing too, one of the other bids on this actually contacted me and said it was going to be cheaper. He was going to actually tear my buildings down for free. He was going to be cheaper to tear my buildings down than work around them and protect them. So I think we've come to an amicable resolution. I've resolved my insurance for the most part, finally, after almost 2 years. But it was an amicable resolution. As I told the city, I just want to get something for the land. I think it's a fair number, and then everybody can move forward. I think it's a great deal for the city. Probably gonna save money in the long run, probably gonna, you know, in what you'll, instead of protect my buildings, so.
So 75,000, is that the purchase price?
Yes,
Thank
as
you.
is, yes.
3,000 closing costs.
Yep, yep.
Any other questions or comments? Well, thank you for coming, Ryan and Tim and Mike. Appreciate it. Any other discussion? All in favor of the motion to approve, vote yes. Those opposed, vote no. The voting is now open. And the ordinance passes 10 voting yes, none voting no. Next item on the agenda is 2022-015, an ordinance authorizing a decrease in the number of Class A, AA, D, and E liquor license due to failure to renew for 2022. Chair will entertain a motion to place agenda number 2022-015 on final passage.
So move.
Second.
Been moved in second. Any discussion? All those in favor, vote yes. Those opposed, vote no. The voting is now open. And the motion passes 8 voting yes, none voting no, 1 voting present. Next item on the agenda is 2022-019, an ordinance approving the reappointment of Patricia Senor Carter. The chair will entertain a motion to that's to the Civil Service Commission.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. On final passage, moved in second. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, vote yes. Those opposed, vote no. The voting is now open. And the ordinance passes 9 voting yes, none voting no. Chair will entertain a motion to suspend the rules and place on first reading agenda number 2022-040, ordinance approving the appointment of Kenneth W. Scarlett Jr. as Chief of the Springfield Police Department.
So moved. Second.
Been moved in second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Chair will entertain a motion to suspend with the rules and place on first reading agenda number 2022-041, ordinance authorizing the purchase of 2 2022 Ford Police Interceptor utility gasoline vehicles from Morrow Brothers Ford, Inc. in an amount not to exceed $140,025 under State Contract 19-416 CMS-BOSS-P-11453 for the Springfield Police Department.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Chair will entertain a motion to suspend the rules and place on first reading agenda number 2022-402, an ordinance authorizing the purchase of 7 2022 Ford Police Interceptor utility gasoline vehicles from Morrow Brothers Ford, Inc., in an amount not to exceed $329,000 under State Contract 19-416 CMS-BOSS-P-11453, and authorizing a supplemental appropriation in an amount not to exceed $329,000 for the Springfield Police Department.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and second. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Chair will entertain a motion to suspend on the rules and place on first reading agenda number 2022-043, an ordinance to increase the number of Class A liquor licenses by 1 for Replay Lounge, Inc., doing business as Replay Lounge, for the business located at 217 South Fifth Street.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Is there any unfinished business come before the council? Alderman Hanauer and then Alderman Redpath.
I guess this would be unfinished. Nate, how comfortable are you that the streets will get us here on Thursday for the budget?
I'm coming.
I hate to put you on the spot, but we got a meeting and, we want to get these budgets taken care of.
We're not going to be able to evaluate that till
Yeah,
Wednesday.
it really depends. Originally the snow was supposed to get over around noon, but they bumped it back to 6 o'clock now. But we'll do our best. We'll obviously be keeping the mains as clear as possible, and then be working our way into subdivisions.
What do we want to postpone it? And
No.
Let's go.
Yeah, we can
Get
just,
it over.
Yeah,
figure it
let's
out
get it done.
I'm good with that. Just wanted to make sure I didn't want to let it go and have everybody, have Kristen calling me.
Won't be televised for those that can't make it.
Are we talking about public works?
Roy just
budget?
asked, what did you just say?
Alderman Redpath?
The other day.
Director McCarty, could you come up and, I wanted to ask you about our gas purchases. Since we did our budget last year, obviously inflation is, gases went up a bunch. Did we adjust, or how do we do that to pay? Are we under a cost from purchase of gas from last year, or how are we doing that?
We had adjusted budgets a little bit in the last couple of years, and when fuel went down, we kept them pretty much flat. So there shouldn't be any problem. Plus, on top of it, like from the police standpoint, those hybrids that we're getting more of are saving a lot of fuel, so I think we'll be fine. And we can always do transfers if
But
we
from
need to.
last year to now, the price of gases went up $1.50, so.
Yeah, yeah.
So how are we
We'll take a look
doing
at
that?
that and see, but we're always talking about that. But a lot of times when we lapse funds, we just know that the availability was there. And if we have to come back, we have to come back. But I think in the 10 or 11 years that I've been here, I think there's only been one time
So
we've
your
had to do that.
your gas budgeting was put enough money in to cover the extra costs that we're incurring?
Well, I'll tell you what, I will double check that. We can always do an amendment.
All right, thank you.
But I think we're going to be okay.
All right, thanks.
Any other unfinished business? Any new business? Just a reminder, I think the governor's State of the State address is tomorrow at the old state capitol. Is that at noon?
It's at noon. It is virtual. It's not a joint session. So I was late here because I was receiving a preview of that address.
Good. Alderwoman Purchase?
Thank you, Mayor. We wanted to share that DSI has postponed the date of our first Friday from February 4th to February 11th due to the snow. You can go to their Facebook page, Downtown Springfield, Inc., to learn about Gillingtimes Day and bring all your friends.
And then the overflow shelter run by the Salvation Army and the Heartland Continuum of Care is going to be operating 24/7 tomorrow and Thursday. Then from there, it'll be, I guess, judged each day. Any other unfinished business? Is there anybody wishing to address the city council?
We have one person signed up, Jill Steiner.
Okay. If you'd like to come forward and state your name and address, we'd appreciate it.
I'm Jill Steiner. My address is 2328 Lynn Haven Drive. I live in Ward 5. I'm here today representing ICON, and with your permission, we'd like to hand out and approach the horse show to hand out a handout.
Sure.
Okay. So born out of frustration, the ICON Problem Property Committee took a new tact in 2021 in their efforts to bring attention to the growing blight in the neighborhoods throughout the city, but with focus on our older neighborhoods. Our 2021 focus was to become subject matter experts in ordinances, codes, processes, policies that both support quality neighborhoods and those that impact our neighborhoods negatively. Tonight, I will share an overview of our progress to date. The handout today will just share with you that this deep dive was a result of meetings that we thank the city for and the mayor for that allowed us access to many city departments. We were part of the contributor to the Harvard Bloom study. We've done an ordinance review on garbage, large item pickup, vacant properties, and abandoned properties. We attended majority of the ward meetings, and we had often addressed city council. We were able to meet with the mayor's staff and have discussions and support, particularly with Public Works, several meetings with them. Also met with the treasurer's office. We also spoke to Corporation Counsel in regards to administrative court and understanding that process a little bit. So on the back page of your handout, we have what is our summary of what we heard the city say when we put it together into where are we going and what are the strategic directions. And so we just, again, want to thank everybody for able to give us this access and hopefully continue that relationship. So as you read those things that the city expressed to us was their strategies on addressing those concerns, we also want to point out there's some additional things we would like to raise up. One is to have searchable reports and data available on the website or by request without filing a FOIA request. Specifically, Excel formatted data on vacant property registration, admin court actions, and viewable summary of all the actions and inactions related to specific properties. We'd like to have the ability for neighbors to be heard, to have their concerns be carry weight in admin court. We'd like to have set parameters for progress that are used consistently in administrative court in consideration of continuances and dismissals without fines. We'd like to see regular financial impact reports on the collection of those fines and fees, which at minimum should cover the cost of the personnel for those continuations beyond the initial admin court hearing. We'd also like to see some opportunity for direct funding collected from fines to assist owners who care about their properties and lack the resources to do so. Recently, ICON has shared budget recommendations with all of you based on our deep dive, and in the coming weeks, ICON will be addressing the council on a regular basis to share our findings from the deep dive and our takeaways on the 4 focus areas: property, garbage, large item pickup, and administrative court. The intent of the ICON members addressing the council and interacting with city departments is to raise awareness, ignite discussion, and engage all parties in further studies as we progress towards healthy and thriving neighborhoods. We ask you to give us grace if we don't get every code or process quite right. We're still learning, but do not dismiss our perspective, because our members are experiencing increased blight, and what they experience in their neighborhoods and in their wards is their reality. We invite and will strive towards civil discourse with active listening and engagement in this process improvement, and we do want to thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to thank you for your participation, especially with the Harvard Bloomberg initiative. I think it's the more individuals we have like eyes on the ground is extremely helpful, especially with the constructive feedback and working with Public Works and other departments. So thank you very much. Any other questions or comments on that? Is there anybody else wish to address the council? If you'd like to come up and state your name and address for the council, we'd appreciate it.
Good evening, council.
Good evening.
My name is Latice. I'm actually here again on behalf of me and my husband, having to, not wanting to, touch bases yet again on some ongoing issues we've continued to deal with since me speaking at the last council meeting a couple of months back regarding unfair, rude, and ridiculous treatment we continue to face on a regular basis when trying to rehab our properties. We've expressed this unfair treatment several times to several of your sitting officials in hopes for a change in this. But besides Lakeisha being able to coordinate a possible meeting just yesterday with the mayor, we're still in the same position. Okay, since I last spoke here, our reservoir property that's in Alderman Roy's ward, that we were disrespected at several times by, your city inspectors. I would like to say, and I'm happy to say, we've sold that property, not rent, but we sold that property. Now moving forward, on Hay Street, a property in Alderwoman's Purchase Ward, we're currently being threatened with the demo on a regular basis. First demo date given 1/31, but we was given leniency for now a date of March 15th being dangled over our head, okay? Now, I would like to share some points regarding this property with you guys, okay? 505 Hay Street, we took possession of this property in May of 2020. Before we purchased this property, it was already on the demo list, which we were not aware of, okay? And to be honest, we shouldn't have been sold the property, actually. Okay, so we did not secure funding to renovate this property until March of 2021. The home was condemned and barely standing, and since we've reinforced the roof, the interior, the new roof on the exterior, new siding, new windows, new doors, repair foundation, new plumbing, new electrical, new framing throughout the interior. We took it from a 1-bedroom and is now a 4-bedroom home that looks brand new from the outside. Again, we did not begin work on this property until March of 21. My husband, Kenneth Lockhart, is a union operator here in Springfield. He works seasonal, so it's 6 to 8 months out of the year, okay? He ended up catching COVID in May. At the end of July, he was not cleared his entire work season, okay? Because of the issues that he was having with his lungs. He was not cleared to go back to work, okay? Now, with that being said, we've been pressed and pressed about this demo. Again, it was no leniency in regards to COVID. It was no leniency in regards to us finishing Roy's property. You get what I'm saying? But it's a demo. Okay? Literally, guys, I cannot say it enough. We are working people. You get what I'm saying? With him being off a season, I'm still, carrying part of salary. But again, we are hit left and right. We left one situation. We sold a beautiful property, rehabbed it beautifully. Now we're doing the same in another ward, and we are still being antagonized. And I just can't. I'm going to always let you guys know. But I just feel like it's kind of falling on deaf ears because it's probably not an issue, on your table. But it's time sensitive to my table. You get what I'm saying? This is money that I've thrown into a project that you are literally telling me that you're going to demo on March 15th. And nobody is saying a thing about it.
Yeah, I'd ask Corporation Counsel to explain the process. If you've done all that work, I think there'd be a follow-up. And so I'd be surprised if it's on the demo list, but I'd ask.
It's on the demo list.
But might
I'm
still
being
be on, but
threatened.
there will be a review of that, but I'd ask Corporation Counsel to go over that part of the process, if you would.
Yeah, I would have to, did you say it was 505 Hay Street?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I would be happy to check on it. The process, it's interesting because Icon was here talking earlier about not being effective, and now we have a situation where you have a follow-through, and we've got literally, I think, approximately, 160 that are on the demo list, of which half have been demolished, just in broad strokes. I'm not familiar with this specific one, but I'd be happy to check on that. The normal order of business is to encourage the owner to fix the property, and there's usually an agreed order that goes to the court where it sets out time frames to do the work. So I'm not certain if there has been like an agreed schedule that has not been followed, but I would be happy to check on check on that specific property and find out and talk with you about it.
Yeah,
Okay, for sure.
We have a meeting, I think, scheduled Friday, and we'll have the update then.
For sure. And also, we talked about fines last time, and I was hit with a $500 fine regarding some brush, a neat pile that my contractor put in front of the home. And I've been already hit with a fine on that property about brush. So, it's some of this stuff is not like adding up.
Yeah,
at
we'll
all.
have to take a look at that.
For sure. I appreciate it. And again, I hate to always have to come in this type of form, but I'm definitely going to come this way every time about the work that I'm putting out there.
Well, we appreciate your work, and sorry for the inconvenience having to come at night, especially bringing
appreciate
your child with you.
For sure. Have a good one.
Alderwoman Purchase, and then, is there somebody else? Alderwoman Purchase.
I just want to say that when Ms. Latrice came the first time and made us aware of the situations that was going on with her, I had definitely said I hope it wouldn't be any retaliation, and she has sent an enormous amount of emails about how they are being treated unfairly and how she feels that it's falling on deaf ears and not seeing any improvements. So I just want to make sure that I hope that we're able to resolve some of this and just be transparent across the board on all parameters when it comes to rehabbing houses. And just the fairness of treatment that our inspectors are giving out to people, because they're not the first couple. They're just strong enough to come and stand in front of city council and tell us on TV for everybody to see.
I think on any of those cases, I'm going to refer, since nobody else did, I'll refer to the Inspector General. So that takes care of that, and anybody else has any type of mistreatment, usually you would contact the department, but if you're not, don't know who to talk to, you can talk to Juan Huerta. But the other scenario or the other process we have in place that's worked well is the Inspector General, and that's what it's for.
Well, thank you for acknowledging that, and I will say that every time I did receive something, I spoke with Director Harris, but it's only so much that they can do too. They're not out here when these people are getting approached by the inspectors or what's being said, so it's really, really hard.
Alderwoman DeSenza?
Could we get a copy of the email she's referring?
Yes, I CC'd the mayor on it and Director Harris and Director Bottom. So we have everyone that has came from Ms. Latrice.
I think it was sent this week. Alderwoman DeSenza?
Thank you, Mayor. I'm sorry you're going through that. I have properties that I've been begging to have demolished for 5 years. So the fact that you are actually making improvements, and my phone's blowing up now for people who have been begging for action to be taken on properties. So I'm sorry you're being treated that way.
Alderwoman Conley, then Alderman Williams.
Thank you, and I just have a clarification question about the demo process. Do we put any sort of a lien on a property so that, you know, in this instance, if you buy a property, at least you know its status with the city?
Well, if there's again, I'm not specifically aware of where it's at in the process, but if there is a demo lien, of course it's recorded.
Okay.
If there is legal action, there's what's called les pendens, which is filed against that shows up on the property. So I don't know what point, in the process that maybe a purchase occurred, but the process where there's either an order or there's a lien or a fine or les pendens, all of those are recorded.
Thank you.
So it shows up at, the recorder's office if you do title work.
Okay, thank you very much.
Alderman Williams.
Yes, so, I can remember,
Alderman, your microphone is off.
I can remember clearly when the reservoir, my ward, that address and the incident that happened, and it was a hard incident because when she came here and made her complaint, one of the things I wanted to know was what's going to be done? What are you going to do? I was told it was a personnel issue. Alderman, we don't have to tell you what's going to be done. And my hope was that this didn't carry over, and it seems to have, because they did a good job. They're a young couple. They go around and do this property. But even in that, the incident was about being told, don't buy no more property because, you're a pain in my whatever. So we wanted to get to the bottom of that so we wouldn't be back here now months later, which seems to have carried over now to another ward on Hayes Street and whatever else. So I work with the department all the time. I do not really have dealings with the inspectors in this piece. So what I would say is I think you're right, Mayor. I think that's why we have an Inspector General, and that's why we get them involved on this, because I would hope that we're professional enough not to practice animosity or retaliation or whatever we feeling right there, because that was a pretty deep situation we were in between a citizen and a staff member. And it was hard for me as an alderman, because I'm like, I always say you guys are the best asset to the city. At the same time, I require them to do their best and be their best. And it was a he say, she say, back and forth, say, I'm in the union, hey, I ain't got to answer to you, blah, blah, blah. I hope we can get this resolved so they can keep doing the good work that they do. And I appreciate you taking the meeting Friday with them, as well as I hope they take your advice and get the Inspector General to look at this overall, the way they've been treated or how it's been operating.
Alderwoman Purchase.
Thank you, Mayor. To follow up with Alderwoman Conley, speaking constantly to Ms. Latrice and Kenneth, I have said moving forward on any properties to reach out and we can do a FOIA request so that we, or Information Act, so we can see what's going on with those properties. But they also have a huge property in our downtown area, and I would hate for that to fall on deaf ears with the whole process of going through the inspectors and stuff too. So I just hope that we really can look at this and just be transparent to move them forward, because now Mr. Lockhart is at the point where he doesn't even want to buy another piece of property here in Springfield. And when you're beautifying our community and you're revitalizing our areas, we don't want to run people off.
Yeah, I imagine it's property by property, so I'm not familiar with the in-depth nature. But anytime you have, if it's the same individual, I think that will turn out in the Inspector General. If it's that's what we'll have to vet, or the Inspector General will. And so it's an open door. Again, it's transparent. You can go to the city's website. At any point in time, that can be turned in. So, but we'll take the responsibility of the action and move forward in that direction. But we will have the meeting and see how we can resolve their current situation, right? So we appreciate you coming in. Any other individuals wish to address the council? Yes, if you come up and state your name and address for the council, we'd appreciate it. And your name again, please?
Al Bolivar,
Thank you.
and my concern is the election, I don't know what the procedure is, but my main concern is how you justify a person the right to vote. I mean, what procedure you go through.
For state or local election, or?
State, local, yes.
Yeah, that's handled at the county level. And Corporation Counsel, would you care to go over that
What
process?
kind of a vote?
Pardon me? Voting.
Well, the circuit, basically the county clerk, and is the election authority relating to just election procedures and processes. If you're talking about a voting process, as in an election.
I'm from Cook County, and I just moved down here a year ago, September. And what I'm concerned about, they ask for voter ID. I don't know if that's a requirement here, but I kept showing my voter ID whenever I voted, my driver's license. But now we have, in Illinois, ID photos. See that little flag or a star they put in the middle of your license plate, driver's license? Now that's a official ID, because you have to show that you're a citizen, you have to show paid utility bills, et cetera, et cetera.
No, you don't.
Well, I showed them my passport.
You don't have to show anything to vote.
Yeah, you,
You don't
in
have to
order
show
to
an ID to
register,
vote.
were you
Don't
registered?
need an ID to vote?
No, you do not. You have to
Why not?
register, because it's the law. You don't need an ID to vote.
Are you talking about registering to vote or actually voting?
Actual voting.
Yeah.
So, just go to county clerks is the one that can tell
Don
you.
Gray is the county clerk, and he'd be able to go over the process with you. When I go in, they may ask for your registration card, but usually they'll match your signature with what's on file.
Correct.
Right there in the book. They have a book
Yeah,
that you
because
sign.
I
and-
voted down
Yep.
here
Yep.
when they.
Usually that's how it's done here. I'm not sure how it's done in Cook County.
Well, my other concern is, how are you going to judge if a person is legal or illegal?
Oh, boy.
Yeah, Don Gray would be able to help you with that, and he's over at the county. The county building is catty corner from, on 9th Street, from the municipal center where the police station is. And they're open, I think, probably 8:30 to 5. I'm not sure about tomorrow, though, but I would, you still have time next week to check that, or you can go online as well.
All right, who again would I have to talk to, or
Don Gray, he's the county clerk.
county clerk?
Yep, Sangamon County Clerk.
Okay.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to address the council? Is there a motion for adjournment?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. We're adjourned. Thank you.
Those emails, whatever they